Good afternoon, respected listeners. It's episode 36, and we're back to the recording over Discord format.
Yeah.
So,
feels bad, man.
I'm in my I'm bollocks naked right now. Just excellent. I'm glad I can return back into this state for recordings again.
Nice.
we have a bit of a quiet podcast today. So we've got Stooge.
Yo.
And we've got Limyaael.
Yo.
Jeroz is also technically in the call, but he's like just being an observer at the moment. Alright, I don't know. Fucking cue intro. Line that shit up. Okay, alright. I forgot to actually say who I was. I'm Watari. And I get upset when I can't talk in the podcast. That's me. That's my whole identity for this whole thing. So I think we'll just get straight into the bread and butter. And Limyaael, what news have you got for us?
Not too much this week. First of all, the Code Geass Twitter account has started a 7-day countdown, which that's very ominous. So the compilation films are beginning to come out this year, so people are speculating there's either more news about those compilation films or it's about the new series itself. People are thinking it's probably the second one.
Nah, it's just a countdown to nothing, really.
Yeah, they're just going to reach next
Wait,
week.
what was that? Fucking Gainax West or something?
That was just some people from A just making up a Twitter account.
I mean, it could very well just be that. So,
or maybe Gainax is really fucking with us.
Oh, all right.
Conspiracy on top of the conspiracy. Moving on, there's a Macross rhythm game coming out soon. It's
rhythm game. Right.
It's been delayed by about 3 months, and it's going to feature lots of songs from the various Macross series.
Does it feature Ikanai Borderline?
They literally say it in the video that it has Ikanai Borderline.
It's the only song we need.
That's the only song they need for marketing as well.
Pretty much.
All right. Yep. Next news item.
The series Otaku ni Koi wa Muzukashii is being adapted, and it's going into the Noitamina Fuji TV programming block, which is where a lot of generally good stuff has come from. I think Tatami Galaxy, Noitamina.
Yep.
Well, we also had Anohana, Bokumachi. We also had Carbonari, but let's ignore that one. Moyashimon, Psychopaths. There's been lots of really good things that have aired on Noitamina. They are generally quite good.
Yes. So, I mean, like, oftentimes your best bet in looking for shows with a bit of meat on them is going to be from the Noitamina blocks.
Unfortunately, it's also being done by A1 Pictures, so who fucking knows how bad good it'll be.
Yeah, 50-50. Roll of the dice.
Roll the 20-sided die. you gotta hit 20 and all other results are bad.
Yeah. You hit a 20 and you get Katana Gatari, but if you roll a critical one, then you get Kuzuno Honkai.
And finally, in a case of real-life imitating art, 2 Tanuki boarded the Eizan Denki Railway in Kyoto, which is just copying what happens in Uchoten Kazoku, where one of the family members in the show is actually a train. This makes more sense in show, don't worry.
Yep.
So yeah, we have these 2 Tanuki who walk onto the train, and then about 20 seconds later, they just walk off.
That's amazing.
Apparently, Tanuki are regular problems for the station, walking onto the tracks and causing all these delays.
Okay.
So yeah, stuff like this is just happening all the time in Kyoto. So they're just trying to working off their popularity, I guess. the show came out, and they're like, okay, now we are the talk of the town.
Oh, we gotta do something here. Come on, Bobby. Let's go on the train, all right? I don't know, George. I'm scared.
Maybe they walked off because they realized they didn't have tickets. But that is the news for this week.
And thus ends the report. All right. So now we can finally get to our main topic, which is, I said it was going to be something to the tune of English in anime. And, because, there's quite a lot of English in anime, as it comes down to it. I'm pretty, I'm pretty sure I got the idea from all those English in anime compilations that exist on the YouTubes. Maybe I'll link it. There was one for 2016. It's like 35 minutes long, and it's
oh my god,
every instance of every single wow. Every wow or a good job or whatever the fuck they decide to use to spice things up in their show. Okay. Let's think about it from obviously we're not talking dubs here, because that's not really English in anime.
That's quite a lot of English in anime. It's been too much for us.
It's anime put to English, as it were. Hang on. Just trying to think of any particularly interesting examples, or interesting or particularly good examples of English being used in anime. And
Zankyo no Terra.
Okay.
That show had terrible English. Now, the biggest culprit is actually by Han Megumi, who does Ako in Little Witch Academia. She was the character 5, who's like blue or white haired. She comes in about 5 episodes into the show. How appropriate. And she's supposed to be American.
All right.
And now, of course, the Japanese aren't perfect at English anyway. Even the voice actors that people hold up as like they're really good, they still have accents.
Oh yeah,
that's
of
fine.
Course. No, that's fine.
Nothing wrong with an accent.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with this is that 5 in the show, she had terrible, awful English to the point that no one could understand her. So all of the episode releases had subtitles in English as well, even when she was speaking English lines. But the thing is that everyone around her who weren't the A-list stars had better English, which I always thought was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
That, she's the star and she's just terrible at it. One thing I think is important for a lot of people to realize is that a lot of times the voice actors' English isn't actually that bad.
No.
Some of it is actually really bad.
Oh yeah.
But like Miyuki Sawashiro, for example, she actually has really good English, and she often goes off to like Anime Expo and stuff and talks there. It's just in her shows where she is told by the producers to kind of dumb it down.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
because the point of it, remember, these shows are not made for an international audience. Now,
absolutely,
I'm sure the Japanese are slowly coming around to appreciating the foreign audience, but they are still fundamentally made for a Japanese audience, and they want that Japanese audience to be able to understand it, at least a little bit, or at least feel like they understand it. So you have to screw it up a bit so that it sounds more Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to Japanify the English. All right, that's a good point, which I never really considered, because then it makes like perfect sense that just from memory, was it Kiniro Mosaic? I don't know which one was the one where the
Kiniro Mosaic, the 2 English chicks,
the 2 English girls, and like there was a bit in episode 1 where they're talking in English without a single hint of an attempt at an English accent.
Well, one of those 2 in particular is Toyama Now, and she actually also has really good English. And her accent is not terrible. Like she's still very obviously Japanese, but she's okay. But she sounds like shit in Kinuro Mosaic, and also in Nisakoi, where she does Chitoge. And there's the apology scene. And so she sounds the same there. It's admittedly, when she does Chitoge, it's slightly more understandable.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part,
So you have
Toyama
to.
now is told to mangle it.
All right, yeah, yeah. So you have to sacrifice. Well, what? I don't know. I guess I mean, dialect has to suffer the most. That's probably like my biggest thing is that it doesn't. Yeah, I like anyone speaking English in anime just sounds like a Japanese voice actor speaking English in anime instead of the character speaking English within the context of the scene.
Instead of like what a movie does when they have foreign actors, where half the time they are actually a foreign actor that can speak the language.
Yes,
or
absolutely.
they've had a lot of extensive training to make it sound right or something.
Mm-hmm. Just yeah.
Anime just doesn't have the time for it.
Yeah. I don't know. It could also be the effect of English being the cool,
Yes.
hip language to use to spice up your stuff. Because I know. Well, this is just off the top of my head. I know girls in Panzer had the Russian based school, and like one of the running gags from the movie was Clara, one of the members of the school, only ever spoke Russian. But the thing is, her actual voice actress was Russian or born in Russia and like could speak it completely fluently. So I wonder if there's a similar thing there where they had to Japanify the Russian.
They probably did.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I know Russian.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's but it is interesting to note these sort of things. Well, I mean, like if we're going for like other foreign language examples here, was it Ping Pong had the Chinese characters, and well, not that I know anything. Apparently, they didn't hide away the Chineseness of their speech patterns or accent. Yeah, yeah. Jeroz is even like chiming in there in text that their Mandarin is superb. So yeah, I guess it's and I think I don't know. I can appreciate if they try to aim for authenticness, but I suppose there's also the fact that they want people to have a shot of understanding it as well, maybe.
Which I don't understand when oftentimes they just put subtitles there.
Yeah, it's absolutely the case. Ah, jeez. Hang on. Thinking of okay, I know Detective Conan also has an example of surprising, in this case, surprising bursts of good English from the Kansai-based detective. God, I forget his name. Hattori, something like that. But yeah. So the whole plot of that particular mystery arc was that we weren't sure whether he could really speak English or not, but and then it turns out he can, and then in the anime it's adapted because his voice actor lived in America for a bit, so like it really played up the fact that he was super fluent. But unfortunately, it happened at the expense of the actual American character, whose English was already like really funky thanks to the voice actress's performance. So, there's a bit of weirdness there. But nevertheless, like I mean, if I can get that clip, if you listen to that actual clip, it's actually like he speaks the English very good. It's like I don't think they Japanified it like at all. It's, Stooge,
Yo,
you have any like interesting examples?
of English in anime?
Yes,
Well,
or I don't know. Well, I mean, you watched Piace, right?
that would be more Italian in anime though, right?
Yeah, I know, but it's still interesting to compare and contrast because yeah.
Well, in that case,
Alright.
oh boy, the Italian in Piace is, at points, absolutely fucking disgusting. But at points it's good.
Alright.
Like for example, the very first episode, right? They show the what's her name? Morina is applying for the job, right? And she has to, like as a joke, that she has to memorize the menu, and it's all in Italian. And if you remember, the first time I reviewed, when Piace was airing, when we did the first episode.
Yeah.
How many episodes of the podcast was that ago? Anyway, Yeah, I made sure to point out that one of the things on the menu just meant plaster, like wall plaster.
All right.
So as you know, that's an example, isn't it? A completely Italian menu. So some of the stuff was correct, but you know, plaster on a menu. You know what I mean, right? Like, so they it's like they did their research and put this stuff in as a joke, kind of thing.
All right. So I don't know. Are you starting to suggest that they did it like almost intentionally bad, or like Japanified it to the max?
Probably, yeah. But you get
Although there is also that element I feel similar to how English is used in the Japanese language. Like it's about the coolness of things.
yeah, yeah. And then you get into later episodes of Piace, and like when they name the dishes that they've just created.
Yeah.
It's pretty perfect Italian, honestly. Like they use the mascarpone cheese, which is an actual
that's
cheese,
correct,
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Armatriciana, for example, for the spicy pasta.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah, it just has examples. Like a lot of it's correct, and then it's just the incorrect bits, like a special breed of tomato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, we're just going back into English.
Yeah, English, right?
Yeah.
Oh, right. The Made in Abyss opening was English, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Both of Mushishi's seasons openings were in English as well. But then again, there is a difference between having the songs like sung in English versus taking already like English songs that exist and then wide big world and like, using it for your opening, which I think Mushishi did.
Right.
I don't know what the case is for Made in Abyss though.
I don't know. I can look it up. Actually, I'll do that now.
Yeah. Let's do that.
While I do that, Roundabout? That's English.
Well, I mean, yeah, then we go into the JoJo endings, and again, that's also a case of, taking existing English songs and using them. Although, I guess JoJo has more of a license, almost excuse to do it because of the absolutely numerous, the probably 6 zillion musical references that he puts into his manga and subsequently in the anime. Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's still a coolness element to it, isn't it? That's what it
the
feels
Maiden
like
Abyss
anyway.
song is made for the anime.
Alright, okay.
There you go.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a few like that. What is it? It's, is it Eden of the East? Yeah, Eden of the East had,
it had Oasis.
The Oasis song. Yeah. And not Wonderwall.
No.
No.
Few Wonderwall.
As much as that would be amazing if they did it. Jeez. Okay, how about we talk about the fucking titles of anime?
Yes.
You mean how people don't know how to translate at all?
Yeah. That's
are we
a good
going
point.
into Attack on Titan?
Okay, see what happened with Attack on Titan, which should be the Attack Titan.
Yeah.
Is that sometimes you end up where the mangaka thinks they know English, although I think in this particular case it's not actually what happened, but sometimes you end up where the mangaka thinks they know English. So they have an English title for the series, but it's wrong because they don't actually know English. But they will insist to use using that title internationally. And of course, it's not always just the mangaka that insists this. Sometimes it's the producers who, or the editor, I should say, who's like, oh yeah, we got to do this. And then it goes international.
So cool.
And the American license is just like, wait, what does this mean? I don't understand. What is this? With a case like Made in Abyss, though, that is not really... Like, Made in Abyss, first of all, already actually makes sense.
Yes.
It's actually written in katakana. It's not an English translation of like Abyss needs Kuro or something.
Yeah.
It's just
that is what it's called.
in Abyss. Like,
Yeah.
you can't really change that.
And I mean, well, the names of the characters are like Anglo-Saxon-ish. So yeah, they
What,
they
you,
they
you
get a
mean
bit.
you mean you didn't enjoy Riley Matthews in Four Kids dub of Bully La Bully?
Okay, like Four Kids is a different monster in its entirety as well. Like there's translating something to English, and then there's just
And then
not
there's Jelly
giving.
Donuts.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
a lot of good old fashioned localizations. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, there's tons of titles which are just, pretty much in English.
Complete nonsense.
I mean, just off the top of my head, Bleach.
Don't drink it.
Unless you read this manga. Whoa, okay, sorry, that's too much. Oh god. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just a spice.
Yeah.
Or when they decide to like fucking go creative, you get stuff like Blood of Wars.
Mm.
Let's get creative.
Creative.
Uh,
I guess another poorly translated title, even Piace actually. Now that I think of it.
yeah.
So the title for the full title is Piace Watashi no Italian, which if you translate everything into English means pleasure, my Italian. But the English title says Piacevole, my Italian cooking. Now Piacevole means pleasant, not pleasure. So it's
right. Hang
not
on,
exactly.
It's lies.
Is this a sexual pleasure or?
No, literally. Well, piace is the verb you use when you like something.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes
So
sense.
like mi piace means like I like.
All right.
For all intents and purposes.
So I guess Piace would be more like enjoy or something like that.
Yeah, sure. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Please, if you will.
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah,
please.
that makes sense.
Yeah. I also noticed it uses the wrong katakana in piace, but that's... Well, ignore that.
Well, I mean, we
We're
can
not talking about katakana in anime.
like, I guess that's also the thing is, as English speakers who go into these Japanese shows, which decide to use English in their titles, use English in their songs, use English within the dialogue, I guess we put it a bit more under scrutiny because, well, I mean, shit, we know what it sounds like. So, when we hear them using it and it's like not 100% there, we're like, wait, what? Well, what did you just fucking say to me?
Little bitch, I'll have you know.
Little did you know. Okay, Jeroz is just bringing up another interesting thing here, wherein concise concepts which can be like portrayed within kanji or hanzi, if you will, or even just the generic light novel ass long titles, and how to appropriately translate them in English in a way that doesn't make it sound awkward. I guess my answer is, as someone who's done a little bit of editing, is you just fucking can't. Because so now we go sort of full circle here because English is I feel it's limited in stuff like that. That that's probably just me personally, but I don't know. There's not a lot of ways to say things convey sort of fantastical elements, or just stuff which you can like really play around with in, say, more pictographic kind of languages or even ideas.
A lot of classical English literature is very flowery and picturesque, but it's also really long.
Yeah,
because a lot of, like, if you just think like Beowulf, which Old English, but Beowulf is really long.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
You look at, like, say, Shakespeare. Shakespeare is much shorter, but Shakespeare also doesn't have any descriptions of anything. It's just like it's a place.
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of classical English literature is either so long you can put it in front of your door and stop a bull, or it's just it like removes something because it's in the wrong style to be including certain things. Whereas Japanese, because it uses kanji, has the ability to throw out whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like recently the series Tsukasuka. One of the lines in its title is Shumatsu nani shitemasu ka, which was translated to "What will you be doing at the end of the world?" They added the world bit into that. It's actually just says "What are you doing at the end?" or "What's doing at the end?" because they don't specify who is doing the action here. But they had to add the end because you need to understand that, like, they're not just saying like the end of a story or something. They mean the end.
The end, like
the English needs more words to be more specific.
Yeah.
Because there are certain concepts where English just doesn't have variety.
Yeah. And on the other hand, then you have to wonder to yourself, like, would it make as much, like, could you be permissed in allowing just the use of, say, apocalypse even, or fucking post-rapture, or I don't know, just the words that can convey that. But again,
there are more flowery words.
Yeah, exactly. But
should a translator allow themselves to go that far? I guess.
Yeah, because other implications become present if you use these words, especially since these are more biblical phrases, like apocalypse, for example. There, since we were on that, So English in anime, I don't know. Should we talk a little bit about the portrayal of English-speaking countries in anime as well? Not much.
You mean how Americans are all blonde and blue-eyed? Noses?
Wait, they're not?
Yeah, sure.
Wakara.
We can go with the fucking how Americans and English people are portrayed. Although Americans are more prevalent. Of course, you get the blonde types and who pepper English into the Japanese sentences, which I don't think any self-respecting foreigner would really do. Like, if they're absolutely at their point of desperation, they'd probably just use exclusively English, or at the very least, someone with a little bit of knowledge will try to use that little bit of knowledge, no matter how
those kinds of characters to me feel like Westaboos.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
The traditional weeaboo, that they've learned 25 Japanese words, and they pepper them in as much as they possibly can. So you're constantly hearing them saying kawaii, thank you, ex-senpai, even though it doesn't make sense, even though you're potentially speaking to someone who has no clue what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
They just pepper in as much Japanese as they can because they love Japan, even though they know nothing about the actual language. And like a character like Ohara Mari from Love Live Sunshine, for instance, she feels like to me, not necessarily that the character is a Western, because she's meant to be, half American, half Japanese, so you would presume she actually knows English, but it feels like to me that she's written by a Westerner. Like whoever conceived this idea, it's like, I'm going to throw in as many English words as I remember from high school into this character.
Oh man, this character is kind of foreign, so I guess they're gonna use all these foreign words. Oh man, so exciting.
That's how it works, right?
I love English.
I also find it kind of funny that the mother in these half cases is always Japanese. It's never the other way around. It's always the foreigner father.
Yeah. Just to take like a bit of an out there example where that doesn't happen is Katawa Shoujo, where Lily, the blind girl.
Oh yeah.
Hang on, her mother is the Scottish one, and it's the father that's Japanese. So I don't know. It's fascinating, but I don't know. Maybe there's a whole psychological dissection itself within that thing because that was written by Westerners. So
Well, yeah, that because Hawa Shoujo doesn't really count because it's mostly Westerners involved in it. So
yeah.
although you could say that they're just trying to play on the stereotypes, reverse them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, all these characters, if they end up happening, either become that hotbed of stereotypes, or just like, oh my gosh, you're foreign, you must not be able to speak the language so well, and then they end up being really fluent, and it's like, why have this character foreign anyway then?
Yeah, like I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, like a character that kind of betrays the stereotypes. Oh, Ichigo Marshmallow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that was exactly the one that I was
that
thinking of. Yeah.
that to me is probably the only example where the foreigner is like actually it's an interesting take on it because she can't speak English. The joke is she's a foreigner, so of course she can speak English. So she has to pretend whilst she's lived in Japan her whole life, so she understands English. She understands Japanese. But other than her,
Yeah.
other than Anna, I can't think of any characters who are foreigners and they aren't just like a weird stereotype. I'm sure there is one. I'm sure I've watched a show that has at least one that I guess they just haven't stuck out in my mind enough.
Yeah. That could definitely be it. Or it's the limitations of like writing, because it's much more difficult to put your feet in the shoes of someone who is just from across the fucking sea, and you have absolutely no idea how their life experiences work.
Which is especially true in a much more isolationist culture like Japan.
Yes.
Also, another thing I think we're forgetting, remember, a lot of these things are adapted from manga.
Yeah.
How many mangaka would still know English? A lot of these mangaka are at least in their 20s, so they've been out of high school for a few years.
Yeah.
And, maybe they were never very good in the first place, so it's not really that unsurprising that they never really go for, pushing it in everywhere because they just don't really know.
Yeah. I guess then, just I remember, Detective Conan's manga has English galore. But then again, and a lot of the English dialogue that gets written in is actually very surprisingly sound grammarly and spelling wise. I've never really seen, or at least none of the mistakes really stuck out for me. But then again, then you consider the fact that the writer for Detective Conan must have been absolutely huge Arthur Conan Doyle fan and probably Agatha Christie, so they know English mystery literature, and that means they would probably go to different lengths in trying to deepen their knowledge of English, and that explains why he wants to.
Of course, these series are
Yes.
Sherlock Holmes and all of Agatha Christie's works are translated into Japanese, but
Oh, exactly. Yes.
Surely they would have read the original. A funny thing that comes to mind for me is that a lot of Shakespeare is translated into Japanese, but it doesn't have any of the playful, inventive language or anything. So the Japanese, Romeo and Juliet is not popular because it's an exceptionally well written romance story. They like it just because it's a romance, a tragic romance.
Yeah.
Because Romeo and Juliet is translated into completely modern Japanese.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? And I mean, you don't have to go too far to think about translationary weirdness, even on the Japanese side of things, with the the moon sure is beautiful translation, Natsumi Soseki, and that famous oh no, a Japanese person would never say "I love you" that bluntly. So there's of course there's cultural differences as well, which need to be taken into account for these sort of things. Yeah.
there's something that we have all completely forgotten about.
Oh,
Despite
yeah.
the fact that a part of this series is airing this season.
Oh.
I am the bone of my sword.
Oh, good
Unlimited blade works.
God. Jeez.
Magical incantations.
Fucking,
How
look.
terrible they are.
Fate itself within the title, fucking Fate Stay Night. Hang on, like, don't even try to explain to me. Like, what the fuck is that? Fate / Stay Night. What do you? What?
Yes, this is a good title.
That's probably the English so cool example of them all. But then, of course, you have the actual Ultimate Blade Works incantation itself, which is, I don't know. What did I say? Ultimate? Oh, right, well, unlimited. Sorry, yeah. I need to enunciate better. But yeah, Unlimited Blade Works incantation. I don't know. That kind of like turns itself around for me, wherein it's so excessive, flowery, and ridiculous that I can't help but feel like it becomes charming in a way.
I just looked this up now. With regards to Fate Stay Night's title, apparently there is actually speculation as to what the name means.
Okay.
Fate supposedly is, the servants accepting their own fates, and the fact that the luck stat in the Fate universe is about avoiding fate. Stay is about how some of the servants' desires is to have something stay the same as it was, remain king. And night is either a wordplay on the word knight, because Saber is meant to be the king of knights, or it's just about how the battles mostly happen at night.
Oh yeah.
Or fate, like the word fate actually had a real meaning, and Stay Night was just added to sound cool. Like with Karen no Kyokai.
I mean, hang on. Yeah. Let's just say let's trim that Stay Night, and now the actual the Fate franchise, as it were, was just a Fate. I mean, as a single word title, it's not too bad.
It would be a pretty cool title.
It would look if you marketed the Fate Stay Night, like the whole Fate shebang, under just that moniker Fate, which Westerners pretty much already do. I mean, it would still work within the actual confines of the series, because a lot of it is about destiny exposition, a lot of it is fights about their fate, fights about the outcomes of the war, and the Holy Grail War, and all that shit, So yeah. But then again, it's existed long enough that I guess it can get a free pass here.
Get a free pass and sounding weird.
Yeah. It's from a different time. It's allowed to do this stuff. Like fucking Two Heart, or jeez, what else? Yeah, no, if I early 2000s is pretty amazing for this sort of thing.
Azumanga Daioh.
Okay, now that's weirdness in Japanese too. You can't even translate it. It's it is what it is. Azumanga Daioh. Alright. I think we've pretty much exhausted everything can be said about this topic, at least with the three people discussing it at the moment. So, Stooge!
Hey.
It's your turn. What have you got for us this week?
Well, this week I was supposed to watch Tiger and Bunny, but I got lazy. So, this week, by which I mean yesterday, I'm sure you've heard that line many times before.
Yep.
I watched, let's see if I can read this. Danna ga nani wo itteiru ka wakaranai ken.
Oh,
I don't know what my husband is saying.
Yeah. Okay. You decided to watch that. All right. How did you go?
Yeah, it's well, I watched both
Yes.
seasons, and the second season, it's basically an extension of the story of the
Alright,
first.
so what was it about? Just briefly.
So it's essentially it's basically tells a story of a guy and a girl who are married. Guy's an otaku, who's makes money off of working at home on the internet, and if you can't tell from the title, she doesn't understand what he's saying. But yeah, it's gonna be a short review because I really didn't plan for this much.
Yep, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah. So it's a comedy. It gains a lot of its humor from references it makes to other shows. Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, no,
Jeroz just mentioned that they had sex in episode 1. It's
yes,
true.
they did.
This is true.
They even included the they had lots of sex afterwards meme that was at the height of popularity during the time of its airing. So
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know that. Yeah, they included that in the nearing the end of season 2 as well. That
Oh yeah, well.
I mean, but it only showed up twice, strangely enough.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah. So a lot of it, it's Jeroz. No, that's correct. What Jeroz said is it's not censored, completely uncensored sex, but they didn't actually show it, so that's why it's not censored.
Can you really censor something that isn't there?
Correct. That's stuff we're going
don't
for,
need to
sure.
censor something if it's not there.
Yeah, but yeah, like I was saying, it gets a lot of humor from the references it makes. So, like in the first episode, or maybe the second episode, they're looking for a movie they want to watch. So they're at the cinema, or whatever it's called in Japan, and so they're looking at the posters, and they're mosaics, right? It's completely blurred out posters of what's obviously Madoka and I think Evangelion.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Evangelion, but I'm going to assume it's that.
Yeah.
And then there's even more references in the second season, where, so when they talk, she's looking at the wife. She's looking at like what makes a good couple, and it's like, oh, they have to be loving or whatever, right? And in the background, it's what's obviously an image of Tuxedo Mask and Sailor Moon from, Sailor Moon.
Yes.
And then about 2 minutes after that, no, not even 2 minutes, probably 1 minute after that, in the same episode, nearing the end, it just has the to be continued from JoJo. You know, the arrow. Unfortunately, it doesn't play roundabout.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, you can't get too much into copyright
No,
infringement.
you really can't.
Numerical
rating?
Yeah.
Final words?
Oh. Well, I would give it an 8, because it's just short. I like shorts.
Yes.
Before we finish this, I think it's important to mention the manga for Nani was written by the same guy who wrote the manga for Kobayashi.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yep.
Yes, Jeroz, I do like short. Wait. I mean, Kochimpas are pretty short.
That's the shortest of shorts. No, just, yeah. Okay, wait. Before we actually also depart, Tiger and Bunny. That fucking English title.
Well, that's the name of the hero.
Yeah, it is essentially. Well, like the main character is Tora, so he's Tiger. So.
Yeah, and then the other dude
Barnaby, and then so like Bunny, whatever.
Yeah, Bunny. Yeah.
Also, yeah.
Yeah, I've watched 2 episodes.
They didn't translate Pepsi at all, so I don't know what was up with that.
Here's the question:
Pepsi.
Is it meant to be Bunny or Barney?
Ah.
Is it meant to be a purple dinosaur?
Barney. Tiger and Barney.
Now that would make a pretty interesting show. Yes. So until next time, I love you. You love me. This was a very short podcast. I lost my kazoo, and I'm that bombshell.
I haven't seen Evangelion.